Good day, Chelsea, and welcome to your. I had the name all together, but as soon as I got on camera, I was like, your spiritual coaching video session. So, what we are going to be getting into today is the Akashic Records, based upon what you asked, and that is just the energetic library of everything you've ever done, said, or thought, or anything you ever will do, say, or think. So that's going to give us access to the questions you have about your past life, your close relationships, and your feelings about yourself, which are the main 3 points that you have set up for here. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to check into this library on your behalf, and then we're going to start pulling for the past lives, the 3 past lives that are most connected to this one and the relationships that you have, just to sort of give you an idea of the character and what's rolling over, because we typically do the same thing over and over again in different like shades, different flavors. So first and foremost, I am checking into the Akashic Records on the behalf of Chelsea Feener in Orange City, Florida. Orange City, Florida. We want to start with, what is the past life pattern, or what are the past life patterns that are still affecting Chelsea today? What are the past life patterns still affecting Chelsea today? Do you rush into things? That's the first thing that popped up. Like you're a little bolt of lightning, like sort of fiery. I'm looking at your birthday. That's a Pisces. That'd be an interesting, um, interesting. I guess what's the word? Contrast. So, lightning bolt. This is somebody who's a starter, innovator. I also see a bird's nest, which is a family. Like you had a family. You were the mother for the family, the mother bird. Um, and then this third life that I'm going to pull for you is about a journey. Like maybe you were a sailor of some sort, but these all have to do with you learning to be the queen of your own castle, learning to be in charge of your own castle and your own journey. So what I'm going to do now is pull from my past life deck and just evolve the story on each one of these lives, starting with the one where you had a family and you were the main nurturer. So, for the Akashic Records on the behalf of Chelsea Feener, may I have more details about the past life where she was in charge of the nest? Are you still in charge of the nest? That's sort of the feeling here, that it's just a role that you've been given. Ah, well, that's interesting. This is ships again. So, all right, so what I was feeling very Quaker, very Amish, if you will. That sort of vibe of you being the person that had to get up in the morning and like churn the fucking butter with the kids, if you will. But you absolutely did that. You actually came over on ships. That's the first thing for that life. You and your family, or you yourself, and then you created a family. But this feels like your whole family came over here. What's coming through is very European, first and foremost. But it feels like that time where everybody left Europe to come to America because they were being persecuted, because that's what popped up too, persecution and inquisition. You were escaping the government over there, and it actually caused you to sort of have to take care of your own family here while your husband worked all the time. Very spiritual, religious. This goes back to that whole Quaker thing I was feeling. So you were one of those Protestant, or one of those people that his whole life was based on making a family that God would be happy about after you fled persecution on ships. So ships are our theme here, a heavy theme. You traveling or leaving from one place to another because of an uncomfortable situation that you had no choice but to leave. So let's see if that's a pattern in the future. This next life with the Eight of Bolts. I'm sorry, the Eight of Bolts, the Lightning Bolt. What details can I receive from Chelsea's life as the fire starter, as the person of action? in this life you were a judge or some sort of authority figure, somebody in charge of making things happen, but you were very rash in your decisions. This happened because you grew up without parents. So therefore your ability to connect to the sensitive side or your sensitive side was not there. That is the lesson that you were learning. You're learning how to not move so fast, how to not judge so fast, and how to heal your inner child, because there's still a part of you that lived that life as an orphan that has parent issues. And you are technically still learning lessons from that now. So that, seeing how that played out would be interesting, huh? So this last life that I'm going to pick through for you just to sort of give you your main 3 patterns here is the one where you went on a journey, when you got on a ship. And that's interesting because you've done this ship thing multiple times. This one over here feels different than this. This felt like you were going somewhere boring, which, I mean, technically, if you had to churn butter. But this other one feels like you're going somewhere, like you're out seeing the world on adventure, like a young man energy comes up. So we're going to have the details on the life where Chelsea was a sailor, where she was taking a journey. This is so good. You were a soldier. You were in a battle. That's what you were on a journey for. You were a young man going to war. And you made some promises there. You made some promises to certain friends. And that's why some of your relationships are a reflection of this. Everybody that you are currently dealing with, everybody that's come through your circle, is a remnant of somebody you either sent to jail, some of the, or the children that you had to raise at one point, the people a part of your Quaker community, or your war buddies, or people that you killed in war. Also, it feels very much when these vows popped up, you made a vow to authority, first and foremost. This sort of lingers for you. But a vow to somebody that you were dating that one day you would find them, that you would come back for them. And Asia popped up. Do you have a connection to Asia? It's like you sailed over there at some point. This is a worldwide traveler, but somebody who could not put their feet in the ground. So you've done like a pretty decent range of lives. You've been a guy, you've been a judge, which is probably a guy too, and then you've been a female that had to do completely the opposite and take care of the family. So I'd like to know more about my close relationships and romance life. Well, I'm going to pull on this one here, that romance life, because I feel like that's probably the relationship that you're yearning for. If you're not in that relationship, the one that is sort of what's plaguing you, because you made a promise to be with somebody when the war was over, and I don't think you came back from that war. That's not what this is feeling like at all. It's like you died in the war, shot is what is popping up for me. It's not like you drowned or anything, but you died during the fighting. So what person is connected to the vow that Chelsea made in her life as a soldier? What person is connected to the vow that Chelsea made in her life as a soldier? A networker, somebody really good with technology, maybe somebody who does good with other people or friends, but maybe just more online, because this definitely feels like Aquarius vibes first and foremost, but somebody who's a great thinker, speaker, talker. A sexy one, because it is very possibly a female. It's somebody who uses their femininity for things, somebody who's just naturally sexy. It's a popular person. Maybe a person that doesn't even respect that they're popular. This is interesting because I feel like the person for you is male now, but they still have the traits of the time that they were essentially the housewife while you were out on the seas, the home, the love at home. And this person sort of had to make the best of things, which meant that sometimes they used their sexuality to get what they had to get done, just to hold down the fort while you were away. But that is something that is a lingering pattern. Are you in a relationship? If you've been in a relationship with somebody who seems to still be like seeking outside of you, even if you're there, possibly that was an interesting feeling to come up, sort of nerve-wracking, like, oh my goodness, what is this going to resonate with? Because that was very, very different. So that network, I need to know the details on that one. So your close relationships are all bound to these lives. In this life, that is the karma that you are working out. This last part you had here, is I'd like to understand why I dislike myself and can't be nice to me. Absolutely has to do with all of this here. All the lifetimes that you just lived for yourself. Although there is one where you completely gave of yourself with your kids in charge of the nest and stuff. The other ones are more the prevalent energy that you have here, that you spend a lot of time figuring out self by self, and pulling through. So I'm going to pull for that from the deck just to clarify and make sure there are no more details on that that you need to know. Why does Chelsea have a pattern of disliking herself? Why does she have a hard time being kind to herself? Interesting. You got the initiation card. You've misused your power. Yeah, you have misused your power, my dear. So you have a hard time trusting yourself. Like you're punishing yourself for other times where you received great gifts and you use them for selfish things. Like you have spiritual gifts. You have like spiritual guide gifts. You have the ability to do what I'm doing right now. Like you have access to the library. If you ever wanted to see what it looks like, there's like a little person at the front. There are people there, like real librarians. It's just all in your third eye. And your third eye is technically what you see in your imagination. But it turns out that's not your imagination. That's your connection to the spirit realm. So you have access to this. You can go here and ask any question that you want, or at least you did have access. You were a part of an important council. An important spiritual council. You came down here for the war. You came down here for the people. But along the way, you forgot your mission, and you've taken on so much karma from the fact that you forgot you were even here to help in the first place. You were helping to bring balance. You were helping to share your spiritual insights amongst the people here and sort of bring things back into a place of not violence and not the persecution and the war that you actually have ended yourself up in. You came here to build something long lasting, and that's something that is still weighing on you. Your soul has not completed your mission. You actually got lost in the game. Have you ever seen the movie The Cell with Jennifer Lopez? If you've not, I would definitely recommend you giving that a try, because that's what's happened here. You entered the game as a volunteer on behalf of other people, other people up in the heavens, to try to help here, to try to solve issues here, and you got lost in the game. You fell asleep while you were doing your roles. So not every time did you do what you're supposed to and impart that wisdom that you naturally have. So now you sort of have all the guilt backed up in your subconscious because of that. That makes it hard for you to feel successful, especially if you're not doing what you want to do and if you're caught up in the karma of these things that have already taken place. They're still weighing on you because you still have the people around you. And there's a lot of forgiveness that you need to have for yourself, because these are other times that you were just not aware that you had more than one life, or that you still had a mission, and you absolutely do. So with that being said, now I'm going to pull, since we made our way through this past life stuff, just because I'm feeling guided there. What should Chelsea be focusing on in this life to release her patterns? What should Chelsea be focusing on in this life? Ascending. You are focusing on the climb. You are focusing on rising up and releasing guilt from around you. So now I'm actually going to pull. I have a million decks. That's my favorite thing about this reading. For energy. There we go. I'm like, what do I want to pull for? This is always so fun. Okay, so I want to pull for the energy you need to embrace to sort of integrate this pattern. You know what? I'm going to change it up. I'm going to pull the thorn out of your side, so to speak. With the dark mirror reading, we're going to find out what the dark truth or the dark subconscious thing that is throwing you off your path. What is the thorn on your side? What is the subconscious truth that Chelsea does not see that is throwing her off her path? What is the thorn in her side? You bring chaos onto yourself because you are hiding your true self. You're creating constantly out of a person that is not you, so therefore everything continues to crumble. You're creating things you don't necessarily love, so they crumble. And you're hiding your true self because you have some regret. That is connected to all of what we discussed here. A fear of you stepping into your own power, a fear of you being angry again or becoming the person that you were. This is somebody angry in chains. So subconsciously, yourself has punished yourself for the other times that you did not complete your mission or that you possibly hurt other people while you were out of the game. So there's something about you now that is sort of not fully participating for fear of self. That's freaking wild. So let me close this up. And now I can pull for the energy you need to embrace to integrate this. So what is the energy that Chelsea needs to embrace to integrate this wound, to start seeing her true self? Balance. Even calling in the angel of balance will help you open the door to value, because you've been stuck for a while. You've been in stagnant. You have not been making decisions. You've been existing essentially in your own life. You have to let go of the need to be perfect or the need to be non-existent in your own space. Like, you're allowed to live. You're allowed to make mistakes, get up and fall down again. Like, all of this stuff is literally, your energy is stuck in your head. Energy of guilt is circulating and it's touching and poisoning everything you put your hands on. So now I'm going to pull for what you need to do for self-care to sort of start this moving. What does Chelsea need to do for self-care to start her healing process? Chelsea needs to start her healing process. Build strength. I haven't seen that one. You're building strength not only in your third eye, but physically building strength, working out, getting out of the house, doing things you enjoy, appreciating nature, grounding yourself in that way, but then also abundance planning. Words are spells, and you are meant to be writing out what you want to create for yourself, taking back the reins of your life in a way that lets you feel comfortable with your power and knowing that just because you're powerful or you're safe in your body or strong doesn't mean you have to hurt anybody else or inflict upon their free will or any of the other things that happened in other times where you were a soldier or somebody who had to be a bit harder. Even the judge life was a bit harsh. So the last thing I'm going to pull for you is for a message from your guides, just to leave you with something that they want you to know to carry with you. So for the guides of Chelsea Fina, guides of Chelsea, what message would you like her to know? All right. Your dreams can come true if you have the courage to pursue them. Life is tough, but so are you. I think they nailed it. Thanks, Chelsea, and please let me know your thoughts.